What's up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another installment of Ask PJ Braun here at Blackstone Labs headquarters.
Hello.
What up, y'all?
We missed last week, right?
Last week we did miss because of Exotica.
Exotica.
Right. So last week PJ
time.
was enjoying himself looking at probably giant wrecks and other great things. Or you were preparing to get on the flight. That's why we couldn't.
Yes.
That's why.
There was a lot of like big stars at Exotica, but it was pretty tame.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about the no nudity thing, and I was like, that doesn't sound...
No nudity and no alcohol, because I figured those two things together were going to make it a pretty, like, crazy time. But, you know...
No alcohol?
Yeah, no booze. So, like, there were people that smuggled booze in.
Right.
But, like, I thought they'd be serving booze. Like, it'd be
Why
the
would
kind
there
of
be
thing.
no booze?
I don't know. I guess, like, something happened in Dallas at one of the Exoticas, and it's, I guess, more of, like, a Bible Belt area, and people, like... made a big scene about it and this and that, and they like went off on Exotica, and so I guess now they made it no booze, and so it was like pretty tame. You know, I honestly felt it was more tame than like the Olympia in Vegas.
I was gonna say, I feel like
Vegas gets kind of crazy.
I was gonna say, I feel like even if you were at the Olympia, like, yo, we're doing shots over here, they'd be like, yeah, okay,
yeah. No, it was pretty tame, but a lot of like these different porn sites wrote that the Entice booth was the best booth there, which I thought was pretty cool. People were sending me links to it and shit. And we sold a lot of product. That was the most product. Excuse me. After the Arnold and the Olympia, that is the most product I've ever sold at a booth before.
Really?
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Like, I didn't think that we were going to be selling product the whole entire time that we were there.
And
the girls were selling it too, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, listen, if somebody comes over and starts asking you about the product, just be like, you know, PJ will answer your questions, and like, you know, like the different girls will be like, I just sold one, and another girl will be like, I sold one too, and I like these guys will just buy anything that they say. You know?
Right? Yeah, of course. I mean, I probably would.
Though the guys come over, and it's so different than in our world, because in our world it's like $10 for an 8x10, but everybody just takes like iPhone pictures, you know.
Yeah.
In their world, it's $10 for an iPhone picture, and nobody questions it. Nobody says shit. Nobody questions it. You want an 8x10? That's $20.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Damn, fuck, dude. I should really get into that.
Yeah, man, it's way different. Way different.
So, I mean, like, how raunchy do you just want to start this podcast off, like right off the bat?
Go right into it.
Because I got a question I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So, a buddy of mine sent me a video. He was like, yo, I don't know if you've seen this, but you got to see it. Okay. And I've honestly never seen anything like this before. I mean, and I've watched a lot of porn. I've scoured the internet my fair share of times. Mm-hmm. Never seen a video of a girl eating her own pussy.
Oh, I've seen this the other day. They had it on Pornhub, I think.
And she, like, squirts in her own face?
She squirts in her own face.
Dude.
She, like, rubs it up. It's weird.
Holy fucking shit.
There's actually a few girls, that, like, if you click on that, there's a few girls that can do that. They're cam girls.
Okay.
It's like a thing now.
Wow.
Chicks. Yeah, it's weird.
So I just saw that today, and I was like, wow, I'm very grateful you sent me this, because I would not know that this existed if it wasn't for him sending it to me.
Yeah, outside of that, though, I don't know that I'd care to see it again.
No, I mean, like I said, I just, like, watched the one part, and then I was like, that's amazing. But I just can't. How do you figure out that you can? You have to really want to figure out that you could do that on your own.
Well, these weird, like, contortionist chicks that can put themselves in these crazy positions, you know. That girl's probably just some sort of sicko that was like, I'm going to get a lot of money out of this.
Is there a reason to be a contortionist other than that?
No. Like, getting paid. I mean, I hope she's getting paid good for that.
I mean, I don't know.
It's funny. I just saw that, like, within the past few days.
I literally have never seen anything like it before, and I told my buddy, I was like, you have taught me something new about porn, because I did not know this existed.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because after I watched that, you know, like, they show you the other, like, similar scenes, and I found like 3 or 4 other girls that are all like around the same, like, positioning, because I guess that's probably the only position you can be in when you do that.
Yo, you find one that does it doggy style, I'm paying her myself.
That's scary. Yeah, it did nothing for me though, like, as far as like turning me on goes.
Oh no, it was more so just like watching The World's Strongest Man, like, you know what I'm saying, or like The World's Littlest Lady. It's kind of,
I love The Littlest Lady.
It's like something you would find in like a circus tent. You're like, fuck, $2 to watch this girl eat her own pussy. Like, yeah, fuck, I'll watch that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch it.
You walk back out, you're like, that was fucking weird.
It was like very, like, disturbing.
I mean, like, it didn't make me uncomfortable, but she looked uncomfortable.
She did look uncomfortable. Then I started thinking, like, are there videos, like, if you look around enough, are there videos of guys sucking their own dicks?
Probably. But we did just go see Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
So, probably not a Which, just to clear the record, he never did that.
No, he never.
Just to
did
clear the record, he never did that, and he makes great music. So, get out of here.
Also, while we're on the subject of, I don't know why this is coming to my head right now, but feels like the right time to drop it out. Also, that was pretty funny earlier today when Big Mike explained that the bidet thing was partly because he was gay.
Dude, I immediately walked from there into the call center and laughed my ass off with them. I was like, yo, Big Mike just said that he prefers the bidet over the toilet paper just because, shoots water in your butthole.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to not take that position first.
He tried to not take that position, but it's really the only position you can take in his position.
Because I don't like that, and I'm not a fan of it. It's just not something that I prefer.
I mean, like, it's funny because when I told Billy was like, dude, the first time I ever used one, he was like, I was dating this girl, and, like, I used her bathroom a couple times, and I was like, I'm just keep wondering to myself, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck does this little lever do? He's like, so one day I got curious enough, and I was sitting there, and I fucking pushed the lever. He's like, and that shit hit my asshole so fucking hard that I jumped right off the seat. I was like, what the fuck was that? He was like, that shit was so cold.
Yeah, it startles you. I guess Mike's is like programmed on a warm setting.
I was going to say, I think they have heated ones now. Like the seat in your car.
Anyway.
So, now that we've gotten all the vagina-eating bidet questions out of the way, we'll just go ahead and presume with regularly scheduled programming and do the questions that were sent in to us by...
I have, like, coughage.
Frog in your throat?
Yeah. Jeez.
Hello. Sorry for anybody that's listening to this on loud. Shit.
Had to get that out. All right. Anyway.
All right. So the first question comes from our boy Josh Kingsbury. It says, hey again, fellas. Sorry about not being able to join the cyber bodybuilding contest. My financial situation has been in the dumpster. Life has been kicking my ass, but I'm not going to give up. My question isn't fitness related, but more of a life question. What type of financial approach do you use for yourself? I've been curious about using Save Ramsey, but I'd rather hear from someone I look up to and who is everything I aspire to be first. Thank you. If you don't feel comfortable answering, that's okay. Josh Kingsbury.
Well, I'm not familiar with Save Ramsey, but I work with a financial advisor that I know very well. I went to school with him. So for me, when it comes to trusting somebody with your finances, that's tricky, because obviously their job is to advise you the proper way, but there's always negative things that can happen. This is when you get into your age and how conservative versus aggressive that you want to be. Typically, when you're younger, you make more aggressive moves. When you're older, you tend to get a little bit more conservative. Make sure that you got that nest egg there. I personally wouldn't be able to work with somebody that I didn't know well. That's just the kind of guy that I am. I wouldn't be able to just go like try a service or something. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but there's somebody that I know very well that figured that he would use this big service because they're a huge service and they must be good. And he gave them, $500,000. And about a year later, he was like down like 10 grand. And I was like, so much for that big ass fancy service that you used. I mean, he was only down 10 grand, but he was not up.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So I know my guy I had a lot of success with. Unfortunately, I had to use my brokerage account to pay off all my divorce, which thankfully, thank God I had the brokerage account. Otherwise, I wouldn't. So you're a young man.
That's some financial advice right there. Start a broker account.
Yeah. Start a brokerage account. You can start with a simple Roth IRA and go from there. I don't even qualify for an IRA anymore. So there's things that you can do when you're young that I suggest doing. Get involved in your 401k plan if you have the option for one. We have one here at Blackstone Labs. And put any little bit away that you can now because it all adds up in the end. You'll be happy that you did it now. When you're young, it doesn't seem like anything. But once you're 40, 50, 60 years old, all those pennies, they add up big time.
Yep. All right. And touch on that, man. I can't even trust myself with my money. How do I trust somebody else with my money?
It's very, very difficult to trust somebody with your money like that.
I'm like, I look at money that I have, and I'm like, man, that's going to burn a hole right in my pocket. All right, next one comes again from Josh Kingsbury. He says, hey, guys, here's a second question. Hope you don't mind. This one is fitness related. When it comes to gaining size, what is the correlation between lifting heavy and gaining size? I love volume and the pumps they bring, but I'm worried I'm not lifting heavy enough. I have the strength. Injury worries me. If I can continue to grow with as little heavy lifting as possible, that would be awesome. Thanks, fellas.
Heavy is a relative term, so I don't think you need to be maxing out like single reps. I don't think that you need to be doing even sets of 2 or 3. I mean, I think whatever you do, whatever rep range you're in, it should be as heavy as it can be in that rep range. So if you're training 6 to 8, it should be as heavy as you can possibly do with decent form for 6 to 8. And if you're doing 12 to 15, it should be as heavy as you can for 12 to 15. So it's such a relative term. It's hard for me to specifically answer that question. So like if you're going in the gym, you're like, why do sets of 6 to 8? So I'm training heavy. But then your twin brother is doing sets of 12 to 15 with heavier weight than you, but it's higher reps. So that doesn't really make sense. So it really comes down to how hard you're actually pushing the muscle fibers. Your muscles don't know what 20 pounds is versus 40 pounds. They just know when they can't work anymore. So if you go in and trash your muscles and you feed them the right way, they're going to grow.
Same thing with your abs. Like your abs don't know that you did 4 sets at 25 versus 1 set of 100.
Yeah.
Your abs
They know when you're eating donuts, though.
Yeah, your abs don't know, but your body knows that you're eating donuts. Like your body has no idea how much 45 pounds is. So if you're used to doing a 45-pound dumbbell curl, let's say, and then you go and you start doing a 55-pound, like your body doesn't know that it's 10 pounds more. It just knows that it's more. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you're gaining strength, that's like I've been out of the gym for a while, so now going back, like everything seems so heavy to me.
Yeah.
But I'm like determined to make all that shit light again.
But when you're coming back and you're making it all light again, do you consider that making gains or just getting back to where you were before?
Exactly. So it's all relative.
And you don't know how much you lost either, because you might have lost less than you think.
Right.
So you might be coming back faster than you think also.
Yep.
Again, it all comes down to just making the muscle work as hard as it can.
Yeah, that's why they tell you not to worry about the weight, just contracting the muscle as hard as possible. So the next one comes from Kalum2. Says, so I got chosen one. I'm about 4 days in. I have gear support and Eradicate and Anagenin. Should I run all 4 together?
Yeah, why not?
Always. Always. That's a good stack there. Next one comes from Oscar. It says, hello, PJ. My name is Oscar Lerma. I live in the Fort Lauderdale area and have been conversing with Jenny. The reason I'm contacting you is because I have 2 separate TBIs, one from war in Iraq and the other from dumbass gang members attempting to use me as one of their gang initiations that didn't go well for them. With that said, those 2 injuries to my skull, it resulted in my pituitary not functioning anymore. So needless to say, my fucking testosterone levels went to complete crap. Wow. I was sitting at 28 when I finally got blood work done. So since I still serve in the Army and run a business and work full time, I haven't been able to make appointments mostly due to military service, to include Guernica relief duties, which happen a lot in Florida. So my question after all of that is, do you have any suggestions that would help me in between my doctor visits that don't throw off my blood work? Or do you have suggestions to alternative methods I can possibly do without having to go to my doctor, which I cannot always do? Or would you be able to take a look at my most recent blood work and suggest your awesome kick-ass supplements that would help me be just above average? I'm still in service and I train jiu-jitsu and still want to maintain my past energy and strength levels before all of this shit. Apologies for being so long-winded, man, and thank you in advance for any response. I'm sure you're busy as hell. I love your products I've used in the past.
Wow. That's a rough one. For those of you who don't know, TBI stands for a traumatic brain injury. And to have your pituitary gland wrecked, that's awful, because that's regulating your hormones, especially growth hormone. And so I think that the easiest way to go about it is to take Apex Male and Growth. So you're taking a natural testosterone booster and a natural growth hormone product. And you can stay on that stuff year round. I would absolutely take a look at your blood work. I am not a doctor. I have a lot of knowledge of blood work and how it can be read. And so I have no problem doing that. But if you want an easy, basic answer, that Apex Male and Growth are going to be, no matter what the blood work says, those are going to be what my solutions are going to be for you. There's other things you can do, but those will address your issues.
All right. Next one comes from our boy Mike. Says, while at cryotherapy this week, I was talking to the owner about keto dieting and BHB salts. During the discussion, she asked me what my blood type is and asked if I had read anything about dieting for my blood type. So my first question is, have you heard about this? My second question is, what is your opinion of BHB salts? I've seen Dave Palumbo's explanation and why he feels that are useless, but I've also heard Dr. Rhonda Patrick and Dominic D'Agosto speak positively about them. What is the official PJ Braun stance? Respectfully, Mike Peskin.
I am familiar with eating for your blood type. I think that it is a bit of a fad. It's been around for a long time. I think it was a fad when it came out. I think that a lot of people that may have tried it, it was probably something new that they tried and it perhaps worked for them at the time. In a layman's sense, I understand why that it would make that it would make sense. But something like a ketogenic diet should work for most people. It's regardless of your blood type. So what Dave's saying about the BHB salts, I always did my keto plans without the salts. But there is tons and tons of literature on the salt. So I can't say that the other people, the doctor and the Augusto, are wrong, because there is a lot of great data on them. Myself personally, I actually support the data, but I haven't really used the salts myself. We were experimenting with them for a little while when we wanted to put out a Blackstone Labs keto salt product, just because I was such a big keto guy, and I was using a magnesium-based keto salt that was making me poop like crazy. And I was told that I would have to use a potassium source. That is very common with a magnesium base. It will make you like get the shits really bad. So I mean, it was having that effect on me for sure. And eventually I wound up just not using them and not releasing that product. So I think that you can do great without the salts. I mean, there's been people that have used the salts forever. I think that they started becoming popular because people were going off of keto, or like wanting to go off keto and getting themselves back faster, I suppose, with the salts. But you don't need them to do an effective keto diet.
All right. Next one says, I'm getting ready for the BSL Cyber Bodybuilding Show. I want to make sure I'm on the right track. I'm a 50-year-old male, 5'6", 218 pounds, currently taking the following supplements: ubiquinol 300 milligrams twice a day, vitamin C 2,000 milligrams twice a day, gear support 3 caps, krill oil 2,000 milligrams, salmon oil 2,800 milligrams 3 times daily, multivitamin 2 caps daily, eradicate 3 caps twice a day daily, so 6 caps daily, orthobolic 3 caps AM, adrenal care 2 tabs twice daily, Paraburn 1 cap with meal 2, Trojan Horse at bedtime, Recomp 2 caps 3 times daily, Halo Elite 4 caps pre-workout, 5 milligrams Cialis pre-workout, Resurgence intra-workout, VSL number 3 1 cap twice a day, 200 milligrams test sip weekly, 150 milligrams test sublingual daily, 3 IU Serostim, following the men's Beat PJ diet using isolation for my shakes. 1 hour fasted cardio. Is there anything I should add or delete?
That is like the ultimate perfection right there. I mean, I don't really know what you could do to add to that.
Dude, like, I'm training for Mr. Olympia, right?
Yeah, all the way down to the double of the trochees that I do.
Yeah.
God bless. Maybe I got to up mine.
Jesus.
I only do one of those bad boys a day. No, I mean, looks spot on good to me. You can add some Tudka in there. I take 300 milligrams of Tudka twice a day. That's just extra liver care. I also take a product called Liver Care by Himalaya. I'm all about being aggressive with taking care of the liver because of my past with my liver. And if you want to get some glutathione injections when you can, IV is the way to go with that. You can do a push. You don't have to sit and do the IV the way that I was all the time. And you can go intramuscular. You just have to do it more often if you go intramuscular. But everything that you're doing looks really good. Looks very thorough.
Yeah, I got to say, man, if you're remembering to dose these on time every day and you got it down to a schedule, like...
Yeah, impressive.
Because I can barely remember to take my test every week.
Listeners, those are the types of Blackstone Labs cycles that y'all need to be on.
I mean, like, I literally, like, it gets to, like, Thursday, and I'm like, shit, I was supposed to take my pin on Monday. So, Brett had a customer text him today and tell him every supplement he plans on taking for the next year. Like, January this, February this, March this.
Did he purchase the supplements?
I don't know if he's purchased them yet or if it's just the plan to purchase all of them.
Me to listen to that.
Dude, if he purchases all this at once, like, you're going to see it because it's going to, like, send an alert to your phone or some shit because it's going to be ridiculous. He's like August, tighten the F up stack. September, tighten the F up stack. And I'm like, dude, this guy knows what he's taking next.
Why did you want to lay it all out to him?
I don't know. Brett just showed it to me, and I was like, that guy's going places. I looked at Billy. I was like, this dude's doing better than you. I was like, you don't know what kind of anabolics you're going to be taking next August, do you? He was like, I don't. And I was like, see? Customer's way ahead.
I like that. I had. You know what I think is funny? I had a guy and a girl come up to the booth, It's like one of the stupidest things that you can ever ask somebody in the booth. And they looked at the Enticed and they looked at it and they kind of made a face and looked at me and go, "Is this shit any good?" Just like that. And I go, "Nah, it's bullshit.
It's actually trash."
I literally just went, "Nah, it's bullshit." And the guy goes, "Oh, I respect your honesty." And as they were walking away, I go, "It's my fucking company." And they were like, oh, I thought you were being serious. I go, "Do you really think that anyone would sit here and be serious and say that?" And they were like, "Oh, I mean, we didn't know it was your company." And I'm like, "No, but like, let's say somebody paid me to do it. That'd be pretty douchey of me to sit here and say it sucks. Like, hey, they're paying me to be here, but fuck all this shit.
Beat it.
I don't want them to think I'm selling it or anything like that."
Yeah.
And then I explained it to them, and they were like, "Oh, cool," But like, did they think that I was gonna like give them anything other than a positive answer?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Sometimes people, like, when I was in the call center, people would ask and be like, "Man, I know you work there, but, like, is it any good?" Like, they were just waiting
and you're just like, "Nah.
Like,
I just had nothing to do today. I figured I'd answer this call."
That's what I'm saying. It's like they're waiting for me to be
I
like...
don't even know where I am right now.
It's like they want me to say, like, "Actually, dude, there's nothing in these capsules. They're all empty." When you ever notice how light they feel when you take them? There's nothing in them, bro. It's air. Like, "Oh, thank God you finally told me over the phone through the call center from the company that I'm asking if it's real. Thank God you finally told me all your secrets so I can go somewhere else." What? What planet has this ever worked for?
Take your ass over to GNC.
Yeah. Like, when was
that kid'll help you more than I am right now.
When was the last time you walked into GNC, you were like, "Hey, what can I take to, like, build muscle?" And they're like, "Nothing."
They're like, "What day is it?" Multivitamin today.
Yeah.
Actually.
Just multivitamins.
Today is a multivitamin. I get $1, by the way, if you buy it.
$1.25 if you buy two. All
Do you have a gold card? Did I sell you a gold card last month? Because you can have more than one gold card. You can never have too many.
Bro, I wasted so much money at GNC when I was younger.
Yep.
Like, I gotta have this gold card so I get my subs
cards
cheaper.
On Super Tuesday.
Yeah, they got me so many times. I went there and spent so much money and would come home with all these supplements to put on my counter and be like, "This is gonna get me big.
Yep.
Finally gonna be big now."
I fell for that shit too.
Just spent $500. Finally gonna be big.
Celtech t-shirts like 880% better than regular creatine. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna grow 880% faster.
Hell yeah!
Like how like what number is that?
That's what I need.
I
definitely need 880% faster for sure.
Turns out 880% is only like 4 days. You're going like 4 days faster than you would have. Still gonna take you 7 years.
Thank fucking God I'm taking this product, though, because I'm already going for 7 years. I really don't have time to waste those last 4 days.
You can shave like the last 4 days off.
I would much rather.
When you're 30, you'll be big.
I would much rather do that than not. All right, next question says, "I noticed that I sweat a lot with Halo Elite."
Yes, you do. It's good sweat.
I take 4 pre-workout. I recently gave 3 to a friend of mine at the gym. He said the same thing. What causes this?
It's just boosted androgen levels make you sweat more. That's just part of it. It's like when women get those hot flashes.
It's gains, bro. Yeah, whenever women are getting hot flashes, little do you know, they're actually very, very androgenic at the time. So the next question comes from our girl, Jen.
Jenny.
Yep.
Ah.
She said, "Thank you again for all you do.
Aw.
I will tell you every email that your time and your knowledge and sharing it with us is what sets you apart from any other business, fucking successful business owner I know, and it's why you will continue to be successful and have us support you and your brand. Plus, your products are the best."
Thank you.
Okay, so I know that you're doing intermittent fasting, and I know about training fasted, but how do you justify not being worried about losing muscle when you're waiting so many hours after training to eat? I believe you do training at like 5 or 6 in the morning and then cardio after, and then you don't eat again until like 6 o'clock. So how can you explain not being worried about losing? This is a personal question. Do you have a number on the scale that you're looking for me to get up to before we say that it's time to do a little cut? I know my main focus is legs. I'm not afraid of the number as long as I keep getting rid of practically gone and never get back the cellulite. I don't need to be ripped. I'm really enjoying this little fluff. P.S. So is hubby. Just want my legs and booty to be bigger than my back and shoulders. Thanks again. Love the BSL family. Love Miss Rissa. And mad at you, Josh, for not working the Tuesday I was there, and so upset I missed meeting Jared. But I love that it was because we were so busy doing product videos, and I'm truly honored and humbled that you wanted me involved. Hope to come back and meet everyone and do more. Hope the videos are killing it. If you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Those videos actually were doing good with the female audience, which is very important. All right, so let's take it from the top. Am I worried about losing muscle? No. Honestly, my real answer, I don't fucking even care. I don't. I'm like, I want to be skinny so bad.
I'm just trying to be squared.
Like thin is in my book. Like to me, somebody the other day was like, 220 is the new 270. He said. He was like looking like you looked back in like 2010 or some shit, and I was like, yeah, considerably smaller. And he goes, nah, bro, 220 is the new 270. And I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm gonna roll with that for a little while. So that is my opinion. 220 is the new 270. And when I was at and a lot of people are gonna think that this is gonna come out the wrong way, so I'm gonna word this carefully. When I was at the after party in the Dominican Republic, there were a lot of very good pro bodybuilders there. Guys that I'm friends with, guys that are legends, and they were jacked, way more jacked than me.
You're a legend, mate.
But as I looked around, I looked at all of them, and I realized I actually, with the exception to my shitty shoulders, would rather look how I look now than how they look currently, and I'll explain why. All of them are impressively big. However, they don't look functional or quote-unquote healthy and fit by what I think society's like standards are. And so for me, when I saw myself in a video, I was like, damn, I look pretty fit. I look like I could go and like run with a football and catch a frisbee and jump around and shit. You know,
like all the shit the dudes on Men's Physique are doing, but just, better.
And I like, I didn't think I looked small, but I think I looked like athletic, I suppose, is like a good look. And
functional.
Yeah, functional is good. Functional. And I realized like the older I get, the more important that is to me. Like, I think an ultimate compliment would for me to be like at the beach and somebody be like, wow, that guy's in good shape, versus up until 4 or 5 years ago when I would go to the beach, people look at me and be like, well, that guy's on steroids.
Right.
I think I'm probably going to have a hard time losing the whole steroid thing, but I think I'm a lot farther away from it
than you were, yeah.
And I'm pro steroids. You all know that.
Yeah.
But it's just a certain look that when I look at those guys, I'm like, man, they look like they're on a lot of steroids. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just a much different look these past few years versus like the Arnold time period. If everyone was walking around looking like Arnold in that now,
Frank Zane,
I'd be like, cool. But they're not. They're just blocky, thick, freaky, jacked up dudes. And I honestly, people are like, it's because you can't look like that. And you're right, I can't. But I actually don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, if I could sit and spend my time trying to look like that again, I wouldn't. I'm actually trying to keep scaling myself down more and more. And I want to be aesthetic as possible. I'm far more interested in a Frank Zane type of look, than a Dorian Yates type of look.
It's funny because, we just joined that new gym, and I was in there the other day by myself without Tara. And I see there's like this dude that's probably like 55-ish. And I mean, like, he is ginormous for an older man. Like, he's fucking way taller and way bigger than me. Yeah. Like, twice as wide. Definitely over 250. Like, huge motherfucker. Over 6 feet tall. Like, just a big motherfucker. And he's old. You can tell by his face that he's old. So he's, like, working out. And he just has this he's actually working out with what I believe to be his son and his daughter. The girl was like a cute little blonde girl, maybe like 20, 21 years old, really, really cute. And then the son was probably like 14 or 15 years old and like overweight, definitely awkward. Like you could tell dad was like, get your ass in there, gotta change his shit. So the whole time I could not look away from the grouping of those three because I was like, dude, this girl is so hot and this dude is so strangely mutilated, like deformed looking, and I guarantee it's probably because he was like a 270, 280 pound monster when he was younger, and his body just can't fucking go back to what it was because he's tall already, and he got so fucking big that now he doesn't look right. It almost looks like, when like the famous black girls get way too big of an ass and you're like, that doesn't even look human. Like you don't look right. It's too big because it doesn't look like a human ass. He didn't look inhuman, but you could tell that his body was so crazy at one point that what it shrunk down to is just unattractive looking.
Yeah,
it's just very disgusting. And I'm sitting there staring at him and I'm like, how did this dude make such a pretty little girl? How is like half of his genetics somewhere hidden inside of her? And then all of a sudden, like 45-year-old really hot mom walks over and then she's blonde. I was like, that's how you did it. You found really, really good genetics to pair up with. Yeah, great for him. But I can't see myself ever coming up on 60 years old looking mutated from steroids in my 20s.
I'm pretty like broken anyway. and I stopped when I was 30. So if I kept on going and just tearing things more and breaking myself
You'd
down
really
more and
hate
more,
yourself.
you know, I would be, because I'm already a mess. You know, I'd be a fucking, you know, I don't want to be all crippled like how Ronnie Coleman is now, you know?
That's another thing. You could tell by the way he was moving that he definitely got aches and pains. And you can tell, like, he's so big for his age. He's, like, out of breath. And, like, even just, like, moving the pin, he was like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that's cool. I'm sure you were a monster in your day. But, like, I don't want to be 60 years old. Like, fuck, I wish I had made this choice.
Reread Jen's questions to me because there's multiple questions. As far as her weight, I'm going all by how she looks.
Okay.
We're balancing out our hormones. We're correcting some things that needed correcting, getting rid of that cellulite. And we're in a little bit of a cruise control right now. I want to keep her calories high, so I don't mind her with a little bit of fluff. And she holds her weight great. She's very solid, so I'm not worried there. What else was she asking?
I think those were the only two questions. Was if you're worried about losing muscle and if there was a number on the scale that she's
You know what?
looking
I'm
for.
on steroids, you know, so it's like if I was completely natural, maybe I would be experimenting differently with like creatine and BCAAs and things like that to be preserving the muscle. But the way I see it is I'm eating until midnight, right? I'm eating a lot of fucking calories until midnight. And then I'm training at like 7 in the morning, like as soon as I get up. So it's not like I burned anything off. They're just sitting in my system. So I'm burning that stuff off while I train. And then I do my cardio. And I'm active for the day. And so I suppose I'm breaking muscle down. And if I keep on going, like let's say I just keep on going and I don't stop. And the next thing you know, I'm like 180 pounds. Well, then, yeah, I definitely lost a lot of muscle. That's not what I'm trying to do. But there'll be a point where I start to hit a plateau, which I might be in now because I rebounded a little bit this past weekend that I'm not happy about. And I'm up a little bit in weight, which I'm bummed out about, but we'll see how having a few days back together goes with it and where we go from there. For now, though, I feel great and I'm sticking with it.
And you have my sincerest apologies that I did not get to meet you, Jen. Sometimes the stars don't align correctly, but I'm sure they will for us soon. Next one comes from Keith. He says, "Hey guys, few quick questions for you. Suggestion for time on PCT between cycles. My particular case is going to be a transition from a bulk to a cut this time around. Cut cycle this time around will be T3, Winnie, and Tren A. Mm-hmm. What are your suggested doses? Suggestions for Tren cramps besides the usual taurine, niacin, potassium, or should I just stick to those basics?"
So it's T3, Winnie,
and Tren A.
T3, I would start at 12.5 mcgs. Do it before bed. Nobody else is going to tell you to do that. Gorilla Chemist might. And then see how you are after a week. If you like the way you're dropping or not, that's very, very mild. You probably want to go to 25. Don't ever increase it in more than 12.5 mcg increments. You should not ever need more than 50. The Tren A, you can go 50 to 100 milligrams daily if you want. I mean, I found that the lowest side effects for me were at a daily dose. I was doing 50 milligrams daily. When I was in my hardcore bodybuilding years, I've done up to 100 milligrams daily, like close to shows. I don't think you need to do that with where you're at. Winstrol, if it's injectable, you'll do it every other day. If it's oral, you'll do 50 milligrams daily. I do think that you should have some testosterone in there, though, even if it's a low dose of Cypionate. I don't think that you should abandon the testosterone. As far as PCT, if you're doing that right after a bulk, you don't need to have a PCT in between. You do the PCT after, but you're doing all fast-acting stuff, so you'd want to start the PCT within days after taking your last shot of the Tren or the Winstrol. You'd want to go into it pretty fast. And the T3, you've got to taper off of it the same way that you go up. So if you work yourself up to a dose over a period of 2 or 3 weeks, you should work yourself down for a period of 2 or 3 weeks as well.
Suggestions for Tren cramps.
Some people get them, some people don't. Taurine helps a lot. And I find this is interesting that L-carnitine in tartrate form taken with it makes a big difference. 2,000 milligrams twice a day. It kind of like blunts a lot of the side effects, makes everything work really good. It does, L-carnitine tartrate works for a lot of things. It's a good fat burner. It's good natural energy. There's a lot of positive that comes from that. Just basic cramping, though, taurine will help a lot. Make sure you're hydrated. A good mineral supplement will help. Magnesium, calcium, zinc. If you're deficient in any of those, you're going to cramp. So,
suggestion for PCT length between a bulk to a cut.
That's really up to you. You can do 4 weeks. You can do 8 weeks. It depends on how long you want to be in that PCT for. I know guys that just go back and forth for forever.
Also depends on how long you were on for.
That's also a big factor.
If you're on for 16 weeks,
and what were you on with? Were you on with a lot of orals that are out of your system fast, or were you doing like Sustanon?
Yeah, if you're on for 24 weeks, then you come off for 2.
If you're on for a long time, let's say you're on for more than, to me, like 3 months is a fast cycle. So let's say you're on for more than like 4, 5, 6 months. Let's say you're on for a year. your PCT should be like a solid 8-10 weeks. Like you should come down slow and steady, clean yourself out for a while, and then get back on the right way. If it's like a 3-month thing, then 4 weeks you should be good.
We got a good one to finish out with. All right. This one comes from Austin Phillips. He says, "What's up, PJ and Josh? A little deviation from the standard fitness question here. What is the creepiest/scariest thing that has ever happened to you and or Josh? I've got a few, but one that comes to mind, aside from a few night terrors I've had before, was when I was maybe 7 or 8. I had just gotten to bed, and it couldn't have been more than 30 minutes before I started to hear what sounded like a bunch of clocks ticking. I tried to ignore them, but they just kept getting louder and louder and louder, until finally the sound went completely silent. After maybe 3 seconds of the ticking sound stopping, I felt something grab my leg, and I screamed for my dad. He came running, and that was the end of it. It never happened again. Anything from y'all? Side question, what is your favorite Slipknot song? I'm a fan of their older stuff, so it's Disaster Piece for me.
Wow. In my head, I was like, Disaster Piece. Wow.
Love hearing these podcasts. Y'all have a great day.
That's cool. That is actually my favorite song, too. I fucking love Disaster Piece. I'm going to actually make sure I listen to that later. So here's what we're going to do right now on this one. This is going to be a special ending to this show. I, myself, have had a lot of creepy-ass weird things happen to me over the years, but I cannot pinpoint one specific one right now, mostly because I'm about to chop somebody's head off, and I'm going to go and do that right now. So I'm going to say goodbye and let Josh close it out because I know he's got some good stories for you guys. So I'm going to say goodbye, and Josh, you can close this out however you want. Finish it as fast or as slow as you want. I'm going to be right back.
Okay.
But I'm going to get paid, basically.
I feel you.
And I'm not getting ducked out of this. So
No.
We'll talk about this probably on another video.
Go get that in there.
Yeah. Enjoy, everyone. I'm sure there'll be questions about what I'm going to do. We'll talk about that on the next one. I'm glad to be back. We should be back again next week, I think, too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you handle the weirdness, and I will be back.
All right. Peace out. Bye for you. All right. So, I'm not quite sure. I think I might have told this story on here before, but hands down, the creepiest, scariest thing that's ever happened to me before was I went out way, way out west into the sugarcane fields of South Florida one night with 3 buddies of mine. We went out in 2 trucks, Chevy S10 that was jacked up about 10 inches on some big old mud and tires, and a older Ford Bronco that, like the removable top and all that stuff. And so we went out there to shoot a couple of guns. We just went out to go and get some privacy and where we couldn't hurt anybody and, nobody would come and arrest us. So we went out to go shoot some guns out in some sugarcane fields. And, we went out there and started shooting, and we were being delinquents and, standing in the bed of the pickup truck while we were mudding and shooting an AK-47 and just being little shitheads. And sure enough, we got the Chevy stuck. And so we got a Chevy that was taller than me, stuck in mud so deep that it was actually below my chin. And it was so, needless to say, it was in that hole pretty deep. And so we climbed out of the truck and walked back over to the Ford, and we used some tow straps to pull the truck out, ended up getting the Ford stuck, so that didn't go too well. So then we were freaking out because mosquitoes the size of limes come out at night when you're out there, and they were getting ready to start hitting us pretty good because the sun was going down. So we decided it would be a good idea to steal a tractor, and we stole a tractor, and then we got the tractor stuck. I'm not really sure if it broke down or if we did something to make it stop working, press the secret button or something, but it just stopped working. And so the 2 that owned the trucks decided they were going to stay with their trucks until morning, and the 2 that did not, which was me and my buddy Chris, shout out Chris Henson, and we decided we were going to go and walk to the nearest street and hopefully find some cell phone signal and get picked up by my mother. So we walked down this road. We started walking around the time that the sun was setting. We walked down this road for like 4 hours or so. So by the time those 4 hours had passed, we probably it was very dark. It was pitch black out there, and so absolutely pitch black, middle of the night. Like, I don't know, it was probably like midnight or so, and So we're walking, and the only light that you can see is the light of the headlights that are on the cars off in the distance on the horizon from, like, you know, there was a highway way off. I mean, miles and miles and miles from where we were. The lights were so small, it looked like stars on the horizon, basically. And we were walking forward and talking and just, you know, wondering when we were ever going to get to a place that we could get cell phone signal so I could call my mother. And all of a sudden, a light from those lights off on the horizon turned onto the street that we were on, and it started heading in our direction. And for 20 or 30 minutes, we talked about this light that was coming towards us and didn't know if it was going to be a car or a truck or whatever. And as it got closer and closer, it didn't ever split into two lights. Like, you know, a car, you know, off in the distance looks like a single light, and then as it gets closer, it splits into two headlights. So that never happened. So I was actually on the phone with my sister at the time, and the car is getting closer and closer, and it was actually the coldest night in Florida that night of the year. And so it was very cold outside, and the light was getting closer, and as it got closer, it got brighter. And as it got brighter, we got warmer. The light actually started to warm the front of our bodies, and it actually got so bright and so hot when it came closer to us that we both had to cover our eyes and look away because it was literally blinding. And when I mean to tell you that this was a blinding light, it's not just like it was blinding our eyes because it was bright. It was literally illuminating everything in that cane field for miles. Like, all of a sudden you could see for miles down the rows of the sugarcane fields, and it was like bright LED light. It wasn't like sunlight. It wasn't like the sun being out. It was like feeling the warmth from the sun, but from like a tanning bed almost. So this light starts moving what seems to be very fast in our direction as it starts getting brighter and warmer, and it starts warming the front of our bodies, and I have to cover my eyes while I'm on the phone with my sister and to stop it because it hurt so bad. It was so bright. And I remember telling her, hold on, I don't know what is going on right now. And she's like, what are you talking about? Who's in the car? What are you seeing? And I told her it's just an insanely white, bright light. And it came all the way up to our faces and just disappeared without a sound and put us back into complete and total darkness. No sound ever happened. No sound was ever heard coming up to us. The light was on the road that we were on for 20, 30 minutes until it came up very close to us and then just disappeared. There was, like, if you've ever been in a dark room for a long time and then you turn the lights on, you know how, like, your eyes take a second to adjust to the light. Well, it was so bright when it got to us that when it went black, it was pitch black. So, like, our eyes hadn't adjusted to the light yet. And when we finally could see again, there was nothing around us. There was nothing. There was no one. It wasn't a motorcycle. It wasn't a car. It was absolutely inexplainable. And to this day, me and that friend have no idea what it was that came and made its way over to us to say a quick hello. But we shortly after were picked up by the sheriff, and he proceeded to drive us in the opposite direction, which we had just walked for 4 hours, and then told us to get out, and he was going to let the alligators and the coyotes eat me, and told us we were never going to get home. So then we proceeded to walk 4 more hours back in that direction that we just walked in, and finally made it to a road and finally got picked up. And of course, I told my mom this story, and I mean, she believes me, I suppose, but what is there to believe? There's no explanation for what happened. It was either aliens or some crazy government testing of a new something. So that's what I got for you, Austin. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. I'm sorry if I've told that on here before. That's hands down the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. So I tell that story a lot. Most people don't believe me. But definitely saw aliens. Was not abducted. Was not probed. So I'm going to go try to catch up with PJ and see. I'm going to try and catch the beheading of where he's going. It's not far from the office. So I'm going to end it on that note and leave you guys like we always do with a peace out. Bye.